There you go.
There you go. Now, welcome back, everyone. Welcome to the program right here. We're now going to our second discussion of the day, where we're tackling a topic that rapidly gaining attention in the digital age: AI-generated deepfake fraud. With advancement in artificial intelligence, it's now possible to create incredibly realistic videos and even audio clips that can make anyone say or do things they never actually did.
This is really, really scary.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe some people think that, oh, you know, this digital technology is actually fun and creative. Well, it has a very dark side. Deepfakes are being used for malicious purposes, from spreading misinformation to committing fraud and even blackmailing. So the consequences of deepfake can be far-reaching, threatening the credibility of personal businesses and even government. So, how do we protect ourselves from deepfake misuse? Joining us today is the VIDA president and co-founder, Sati Rasuanto. Good morning, Sati.
Good morning. Good morning. What a great topic to start your day.
On Tuesday, we love this. You know, I just want to mention before Marissa and also Sati that I've seen this like commercial when the parents, they like to post the photo of their daughters. And then suddenly they're watching in a theater, and then she was already an adult on the screen, and she said, "Mom and Dad, this is what's gonna happen to me if you keep on posting online, because people can use my face and my voices." And when it caught to me because I'm one of those parents that like to post pictures of my kids online, and it's threatening for me to see that, you know, the images of my children can be used for something that is just, you know, in cons a negative way. So now, Masati, you are here. Please do share with us actually what are deepfake. What is a deepfake?
So thank you for having me this morning.
Of course.
Yeah, I think it is a serious topic, but it is important for everybody to know this topic. Deepfake is, like you mentioned earlier, it's a new technology that uses AI and machine learning that basically creates new audio, video, text, imageries that looks believable but actually not authentic.
Yes. What's the purpose before when they created this though?
So many different ways, right? So actually deepfakes have been around for a long time. We can call it computer-generated images.
Yes, like CGI in films.
So if you think about films, or if you think about, you know, in the past, earlier days, you could, what is the mashup between, you know, this guy I like and me?
Right.
What would our kids look like?
Yeah, like me and Keanu Reeves, for example.
Right. So those are kind of like early days of what these image manipulation, computer-generated images are. But the problem now is it looks more and more believable, and it becomes really difficult to differentiate which one is authentic and which one is not. And if you think about society and how trust is really embedded in, you know, how we live our everyday life. If there is no trust, you would not get into a restaurant and eat because you don't know. You know, you don't know how that food is prepared. You wouldn't go into a taxi because you would be worried about your safety, things like that. So it's imperative that in the digital world, the same amount of trust is built as well, so that we can all feel safe.
That is correct. I mean, it's like, for people like us, for example, okay, I mean, like you and I, we're journalists, and then you're the co-founder of VIDA. We are designed in a way to be more careful. Like when we see an image, when we see a text, we're immediately like, ooh, is this real? But most people, they probably just take it for granted. And then the worry is that as a society, we become more and more pessimistic, and, you know, we don't know what the truth is, what is untrue, and then we mix both, and then we become,
confused.
Confused, right?
Yeah, actually our survey, we did a survey recently, and about 58% of business professionals actually are not even able to define what artificial intelligence is. And 52% have not heard of deepfakes.
What?
Really?
In Indonesia?
30 to 50%, something like that. Yeah, of business professionals. So the first step of actually being able to counter something is knowledge, right?
Yes.
Knowledge is power. And so I think we all, media, businesses, government, we're all now trying our best to educate and spread more information about what is deepfakes, what are the dangers, what are some of the telltale signs that you can implement in your daily life to make sure that you're safe from it.
Correct. What is the good and bad side of deepfakes?
Yeah, it's true. So deepfake's just like any technology tool, it's a tool.
It
You can
is.
use it for good and you can use it for bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for good, you know, you're in movies and you all like watching movies. So one of my favorite way of using deepfakes is, let's say, the process of de-aging of some of our actors in, let's say, in Marvel movies, right? When they go back into the scene, you know, 20, 30 years earlier.
Yeah.
And suddenly, you know, Hugh Jackman becomes younger.
Yes, or Harrison Ford.
Or Harrison Ford becomes younger. So the process of the de-aging uses some kind of technology that is similar to deepfake.
Yeah.
And those are great because it makes it more entertaining, more believable. We are more engrossed in the movie that we're watching.
Yes.
Another one is think about healthcare.
Okay.
Think about having a doctor that you can relate to, that can speak your language,
Yeah.
that understands, you know, the nuances of your culture. It's another use of deepfake that is possible, right?
Yeah.
Because now you can have these nurses and caretakers that are actually speaking your language with, you know, your
Local
demeanor.
dialects even.
Local dialects.
Yes.
Public service announcement, you know, think about,
Yes.
washing your hands, but in all the local languages and all the local dialects of how you wash hands and
Yeah.
Right.
how you do that. So those are the great examples of where this can be also a powerful tool.
Yeah.
But on the dark side,
Yes, very dark.
very dark side. So one is misinformation, right? Think about propaganda.
Yes.
So
Give us some examples.
Right after the Ukraine war started, there was a deepfake of President Zelensky, basically telling everyone in Ukraine to stop fighting.
What?
Yeah.
As an example. There are also other propaganda
Yeah.
during, you know, our election or other people's or other countries' election,
Yes.
where
Right.
Yes.
that can happen, where, you know, certain people or certain influencers have videos of them online of them saying certain things, endorsing certain candidates, endorsing certain policies,
Right.
but they actually never say those words. They have
Right.
never been in those situations. So
Yeah.
another one is fraud, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
So
In business, right? There
in
was
digital
a big
world,
bank fraud recently.
so for example, in Hong Kong last year,
Yeah.
there was a CFO that was being deepfaked, and the CFO is having a video call with a person in his company, and this person actually transferred $25 million.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, thinking that it's really the CFO
right.
that they're doing a
course.
video call with.
It's like you're the boss, of course. Like you asked me to wire it.
And if you're a company that always goes remote and you never actually meet this person in person,
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
it's very
You
easy.
wouldn't know.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know
you
because
wouldn't
the
know.
technology gets better as the AI learns, right?
Correct.
How seamless is it for us for it to go unnoticed, and how we can't detect that as a deep fake?
How
So-
good is the deep fake?
Yeah.
So deepfake comes from deep learning, the term deep learning, which allows a massive amount of data to be analyzed, and fake, which is inauthentic, right? To create something that is fake. And so how they do it is they take the raw data. Let's say they want to target you. and
Yeah.
stuff. Then they will take the raw data of
Right.
your video, your audio, and everything.
I'm
and
all
they-
over the internet, Sat.
That's true.
I should be worried.
And then they put it through this, this model, this computer model, machine learning model. And this machine learning model will then generate new data of you that is completely not authentic.
Yes.
And then they will reiterate. They will iterate. It's machine learning.
Yes.
So they will say, oh, how similar is this to the authentic?
Yeah.
Not similar enough? I generate a new one. So it's like an iterative process until it looks
Perfect.
identical.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the issue is, as things get better and better, two things happen. One, in the past, deepfakes can only be done by experts, right?
Yes.
People that have the equipment
Yeah.
and have a way to kind of collect all this information,
Yes.
all this data.
And really
put it through.
expensive too.
Really expensive. Now, it's a software and a regular webcam. You can already do deepfakes.
Oh my
So it
goodness.
doesn't take rocket
Like
science
this.
anymore.
Yeah.
And then secondly, the number of data that you need, or the amount of data that you need. Recently, I read somewhere that all you need is like one clip, one audio video clip. That's all you need to actually create deepfakes,
Yeah.
versus like all this massive amount of, raw data in the past. So
How can we be aware of that though? Like,
I mean,
I'm
how
getting
can we
scared
protect-
right now.
I know.
Exactly. Like,
How do we
how can
protect
we see?
ourselves?
yeah, well, let me start with businesses first.
Yeah.
So I would say at a system level or at a business level, I always look at it One is tools, right? How do we start implementing tools? Because there are tools out there. Here's a nice statistic. There's about 100,000 deepfake models out there, and there's only 3% of deepfake counter.
That's so scary. We need also 100,000 or even 150,000 to counter
Right.
it.
And this continues, yeah? This is dynamic, right? So I don't know what the number is today.
Yeah.
So one is, it's only 3%, but look, use it. It's there, use it.
Yes.
Number two is the process, because at the end of the day, there is security. We want to make sure that we are secure, but there's also convenience, right? Imagine if, oh, I want to avoid deepfake, but in order for me to do that, I will have to, click 20 times
Yeah, that's
before I
very
get to the service that I want, or 50 times.
Yeah.
Not fun.
Yeah.
So how do you create a process so that these tools are implemented in a seamless way? The
Yes.
tool itself, pick a tool that is seamless, but also how can you implement these tools in a process that is more seamless so that you can balance between that security, privacy,
Right.
and security.
Yeah.
The third one is, of course, the human,
Yes.
because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we are the one operating.
Yes.
Now, knowledge is power.
Yes,
as always.
absolutely. That's why we're doing this. This is knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power. And then secondly, I always say, when you see something that you're unsure of, pause,
Okay.
right? Because sometimes I think in our very busy, very, seemingly important lives,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
It was like, oh, yes,
Okay,
download,
yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Oh,
That's right.
there's I forgot to pay my subscription. Let me click,
Uh-oh.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
There's a text coming in. Your subscription has been denied, or your
It's expiring soon.
expires.
Yes.
Automatically, you would just like.
your reservation has been canceled, and you like click right away. So pause before you
Pause.
do anything.
The first thing. Okay.
Right? Pause. Number two, of course, is you apply critical thinking.
Right.
Right. So, for example, if there's a video of Marissa doing,
Things that she never
saying
does.
something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Saying something.
Something
or
controversial.
something controversial. You say, that doesn't sound like Marissa.
That's right.
Contextualize
Yeah.
what she's saying
Yes.
and what she's doing, right? Is it
Right.
possible that she's in the location that she is saying it?
Yes.
Is it likely that she's saying something like that? So do your research.
Yes.
Do your
I
your
agreed.
utmost best. If you're looking at an image, like you said, right? Sometimes the mouth doesn't, but as it gets better, then
Yes.
you kind of start looking at the periphery. So, it's supposed to be in Bandung, but why is the background all shows?
In Block M.
Yes.
Yeah.
For example.
Nothing is ever perfect, right, in life, including this. So there must be some digital defect right there, a defect there. You can really see. That's
Yeah.
right, though. Yeah. Be aware of all of that. Be diligent.
Be diligent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm still winded from the conversation. Whew. So, looking forward, how should we deal with this? I mean, how should we deal with this, right?
So let's start with what some of the governments are trying to do.
Yes.
So, including the Indonesian government, right?
Yeah.
There needs to be standardization and rules of law and rules of the game of how you can implement deepfake.
Yeah.
So, for example, the European Union ratified an AI Act.
Oh,
last year.
wow.
Last year.
Okay.
Yeah, implemented next year, so there's grace period.
Yes.
Where you're going to have to basically tag and disclose when you are using AI-generated images,
Oh,
deepfakes
okay.
in your ads,
Yes.
publication,
Yes.
etc.
Mm.
So that's sort of
Like
where
transparency.
transparency. That's where people are beginning to go towards this
Yes.
tagging.
Yeah.
It still poses challenges where, okay, does that mean if it's not tagged to be deepfake, it must be authentic?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. So this still a long way, but
Yes.
this is sort of attempts to get us closer there.
Yeah.
And then number two, of course, like everything else that is complex, can't do it alone.
No. Have to do it together.
This needs collaboration, right?
Yes.
What are the standards
Yes.
of which AI are safe?
Yeah.
What are the standards that allows you or not allow you to develop certain things certain
Yes.
way?
Yes.
What are some of the things that companies have to implement
Yes.
in order to keep their consumers safe?
Yes,
Right?
that's correct. You're talking about.
Standardization around that.
So does that mean that you're talking about digital companies more instead of like a?
Yes and no, because now everything is digital,
That's
right? You're either a company trying to transform to be digital, or you are already a digital native company. In either way, you can't get away from it.
Yeah. And what is the AI landscape or AI knowledge landscape in Indonesia at the moment? I'm just like, how, because you said earlier Europe ratified a regulation on AI. Where's Indonesia now?
So I would say in Indonesia, some of the more advanced policy around AI is actually in the financial sector.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the financial authority, the central bank, very aware, very advanced. They have issued things like code of conduct of what is a healthy AI. So, you know, the law is all in draft form still, but that doesn't mean that we can't move forward, because there are examples out there. And these are dynamics, right? So this continue need to be iterate on what works and what doesn't. I know that a lot of ministries are doing a lot of, you know, working with the businesses, a lot of educational process to, especially digital literacy, financial literacy, digital literacy, to the public, especially the less digital native part, right?
Yes.
Which is more difficult.
The previous generation, you're talking about maybe like Generation X baby boomers.
And also the rural areas, right, where there's still
untouched.
right.
Yeah.
Of infrastructures and whatnot.
Yeah, and then I would say for a company like VIDA, what's important for us is also how can we implement our solution, not just in areas where the internet is good, the bandwidth is good, right? Not only in the latest cell phone, but also in the older cell phone. So those things, right, included in the digital inclusion is how we build the technology so that things that are trying to counter deepfakes can be used not just on the latest phone, mobile phone, but also in the older generation of phones.
Correct. You mentioned about VIDA, right? I'm curious. So what is VIDA's role now, especially in terms of combating AI-generated fraud?
So we're a digital identity company, and essentially what that means is we verify identities to make sure that only the right people go to where they need to go. So we make it easy for you to prove you are who you said you are.
Give us an example of our like daily activities that, okay, this is where VIDA comes in to make sure that you're secure.
Yeah, so for example, you want to open a bank account in a digital bank. Right, so there are processes that you need to go through typically to do that. And one of the process is to verify your identities.
Correct.
So your verified identities, typically you take a selfie.
Yes.
And then you input your information.
I've experienced
and
that.
then they will decide whether you can open a bank account or not based on whether you are who you said you are. So behind that, VIDA provide the technology. Actually, behind that selfie, among others, is what we call a deepfake shield.
Ooh, what is that, a deepfake shield?
So it's a way for you to, it's a way for the companies that use our technology to check whether this is an authentic selfie of yours.
Oh, wow.
Or is it a photo of yours? Or is it a video of yours? Is it a screen of yours? Is it a printed? So it's not really the person.
Thank God for technology, right? We're living in this era right now. I mean, there are the pros and cons.
Always.
Let's see the pros more better now.
Always.
And try to be aware for the cons.
We can't avoid it.
That's right,
Right? It's about creating technology that is inclusive. Right? That can be trusted so that we feel safe in using them.
And that is enhancing our life.
Enhancing our lives so we can go and do our thing instead of worrying whether our identity is going to get stolen.
That's
if my voice is going to get used to, you know, scam my friends.
That is so scary. Is there anything else that we haven't asked you that you think it's important for people to know, Sat?
I think I would go back to one, let's work together. This is not gonna, it's just the beginning. Deepfake starts being quite rampant starting in 2017. It's pretty early still, pretty early days. It will get better and better, right? So number one, how can we use it for good, not for bad? And let's work together to combat it. Right? And number two, just be mindful. Right? Knowledge is power. Don't just swipe. Don't just click. Don't just download.
Take a pause.
Take a pause.
That's right.
Double check. Right? Double
Triple
check. Is it really, you know, is it really Carol? Is it really Marissa? Did they really say that? Pausing is key.
I will take a moment from now on. I will take a moment, especially during political year. You know, where
my
people are just like
gosh.
always hitting the buttons.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Sati
you.
Rasuanto,
Thank you
for
for
sharing.
having me.
Pleasure to have you.
Woo, knowledge is power. We just learned something. Like,
We
really,
learned
really
a lot
deeply.
like within this 15 minutes, and hopefully you do too, because definitely this would be very influential for your daily lives.
Yes.
Thank you very much for being here, and we're going to take a short break right now. When we return, we'll have more coming in our program. Don't go anywhere.